Guys, it's Sarah, and today I'm going to be doing a tag video. I'm going to be doing the reader problems tag. And this one was actually created originally back in like 2014 or something, but it's still going around. People are still doing it. And I will leave the original creator down below. I will also leave a link to the most recent one that I saw done, and that was by Murphy Napier. So I will leave her video down below as well. She's a great channel. I just found her and I've been watching her a lot lately. And we're just gonna get into this. I'm not prepared. I didn't really look at the questions ahead of time. I've seen it before, but I didn't like prepare my answers ahead of time. So this is really gonna be kind of off the cuff. Okay, question number one is, you have 20,000 books on your TBR. Truth. How in the world do you decide what to read next? And this one is something I'm struggling with right now. I'm struggling with having a plan every month, and I know what I'm gonna read. I plan it out based on, you know, who am I gonna read books with, what are the book club books, and those kind of decide for me. And I kind of think about, you know, what do I have coming up? Do I have any special projects coming up? And if I have special projects, I need to read books for those. Or I have review books from publishers that I need to read. So those kinds of reads are really decided for me. I'm struggling with having everything planned out for me versus I'm gonna go and just pick up whatever I want to read right now. I'm really struggling with that. I don't know. As of right now, it's kind of planned out for me. A lot of it is what I'm finding, because especially this month, I have a lot of review books to read. And I'm getting a little bit behind schedule as far as those go, and I don't want to do that because these publishers have sent me books. So I want to make sure I'm keeping up my commitments for them so that they keep sending me books, because I am really enjoying what I'm reading. But I'm really finding myself not in a position very often to just go to my shelves and pick up whatever I want to or whatever I'm in the mood to. And I'm trying to get myself into more of a position where I can do that more often so that I don't feel like I'm reading everything because I have to. So it's kind of that type of situation right now. Number two is, you are halfway through a book and you're just not loving it. Do you quit or are you committed to it? I'll quit. Usually I have no problem DNFing books. If I get to a halfway point for sure and I am not loving this book, I'm more likely to put it down. Even if I put it down for a little bit and go do something else for a little while and read a few other books in between, sometimes I'll do that and maybe I'll go back to it if it has kind of the promise of a really mind-blowing ending or something. But halfway through a book, if you haven't captured my attention, then I have no problem DNFing. Life is too short. Read the books you love. Question number three is, the end of the year is coming and you're so close but so far away from your Goodreads challenge. Do you try to catch up? And if so, how do you do that? I don't stress out about the Goodreads challenge. I do set a number every year, but I set one that's pretty realistic for me. And if I find myself behind, I really don't care. Like, it's fine. Whatever I end up reading each year is what I end up reading each year. Question number four is, the covers of a series you have do not match. How do you cope? I just coped with this yesterday. These were the copies of A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas, this trilogy that I owned. Okay, so the first one is the American paperback. These two are the UK paperbacks. And I got the first two from my friend Jenny. She was unhauling them. She said, "Hey, do you want these?" And I was like, "Absolutely." And then she sent me a picture and said, "They don't match. Is that okay?" And I was like, "Sure, it's fine." It was fine for a while, but the more I looked at them, the more I was just like, oh my gosh, they don't match and it's driving me nuts. And it helped that I loved these books. Like, I love this trilogy. And it just kind of drove me a little bit nuts that they didn't match. And I struggled with, do I replace this one with the UK so that they all match? But I don't love the UK ones either, because for how big these books are, these are pretty, I don't know, I feel like they need to be bigger aesthetically. And yeah, so these were sitting on my shelves like this, and it was starting to drive me nuts a little bit. Jenny, I love you. I know you watch my videos. Thank you so much for sending me these, seriously. And I told you it wasn't gonna bother me, and now it's bothering me. It's been like a year or two. Like, it's so stupid that it's been bothering me that long. But every time I looked at them, I was just like, nope, this don't match. I don't know. So here's what I did. I just bought the hardbacks. I did. And the reason I bought them is because the second book was only $5 on Amazon. $5. What? And it's the biggest book in the series. I don't understand why it was $5. The first and the third were more. I think the first was like 11 and the third one was like 9. So I don't know why the prices are all over the place. But I just figured I love these. And the thing that spurred me to go ahead and just order them in hardback was that I just pre-ordered the next one. The kind of in-between novella that's going to bridge the story between this world and the next story arc that's going to be happening in the same world. It's kind of like a longer novella that's going to be kind of bridging these two storylines together. And I just pre-ordered that in hardback. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and make this one of those series that I pre-order when it's coming out. I don't have to wait for paperbacks and do all that, even though I prefer paperbacks. But I don't know. I just love the story and I don't want to get behind on it and, you know, do all that. And for that price, I got all 3 of these books for less than $30. So that's less than $10 a book. So that's how I cope, apparently. What really drives me nuts is when the publishers will change the covers of books. And not from like hardback to paperback, that's fine, because people will usually either buy a hardback or a paperback. But when you change the covers completely for a series in the middle of the series, that drives me nuts, because readers like to have their stuff match. And when you do that intentionally and you go back and you redo the first one so that people will buy the first one, you're buying the same book twice. I can't. Like, to me, that is such a money grab and I can't stand it. Question number 5 is, everybody and their mother loves a book that you didn't like. Who do you bond with over those shared feelings? A lot of times I bond with my friend Lindsay. Her and I tend to have very similar tastes as far as books go. We kind of don't like the same things and do like the same things. And also, you guys, honestly, even if I don't love a book that everyone else seems to love, there's at least a few of you who will go, I felt the same way. And I'm like, thank you, my people. So, you know, you guys really help me a lot too. I will almost always have someone who will pipe up and have the same opinion as me, even if it's an unpopular one. Number 6 is, you're reading a book in public and you're about to start crying. How do you deal? I don't cry in books very often. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't. There was one book that I read recently and it gave me a physical reaction while I was reading it, but it wasn't like a crying. It was like a, oh, that's so gross. Ugh. And It by Stephen King. I was reading it at the dance studio while my girls were in dance, and I guess I won't explain the scene to you, but if you've read it, you'll know what I'm talking about. But it's the bathroom and the popping and the balloon and ugh. And I literally did that. I was like, oh God. It was in public and a couple people looked at me a little funny and I was just like, what? I'm reading it. Like, you're going to question me right now? Question number 7 is, a sequel of a book that you loved has just come out, but you don't remember a lot about the first book. So what do? Do you reread the first book? Do you skip the sequel? What do you try to do to figure it out? Normally, if I haven't remembered much of the first book, I will try to find a really good spoilery review somewhere, whether it's Goodreads or there is a website called Recaptains where they will take really popular book series and they will break down each book in that series like in gruesome detail so you can really remember what happened. I've done that a couple of times and it really just kind of lays out everything that happened so you can remember. And that has been my main source recently. I actually have done that for a couple of books where, you know, there was the next book in a series, but I read the first one so long ago I just don't remember a ton. I'll remember like the big things that happen for sure, but like little details are actually on there if you can find the book. They don't do absolutely every single series known to man, but they do like the pretty popular ones. And I'll leave that site link down below if you're interested. Number 8 is, you do not want anyone, and I mean anyone, to borrow your books. How do you say no politely? I usually don't say no. I usually will let people borrow them, but it's one of those like they're prying it from my hands and I'm looking at them like, I know where you live. You will give this back to me and you will take care of it. This is my precious. And if it's someone that I don't trust, I just won't offer. And if they ask, maybe I'll make some sort of excuse or something. But yeah, if I don't trust somebody, I won't let them borrow my books because I won't trust that they're going to give it back. And I'm sorry, but I paid money for that book, and I've had people take books and not give them back before, even though I specifically asked them for the book back, and they still never gave it back to me. And I was just like, it's not cool, people. It's not cool. Number 9 is reading ADD. You have picked up and put down at least 5 books in the past month. How do you prevent a reading slump? Sometimes I just won't read for a couple of weeks. I'll just let it go. I'll do something else. I'll watch some TV. If I'm really picking up so many books and just nothing's catching my interest, I will give myself a break and let myself do something else for a little while. And then I will start to feel that craving to read again, and I can pick up something and it'll probably hold my interest a lot more. And that's happened to me a few times, actually. Just, I need to take a break. I need to give my brain a rest. I need to just do something mindless for a while, and it usually helps. Number 10 is there are so many books coming out that you actually want to read. How many of them do you buy? I don't buy new releases a ton. I really don't. I don't pre-order a lot of books. I do occasionally. So maybe if there's, 10 coming out in the year that I really want to read, I'll maybe order 2 or 3 of them. And a lot of that is money. And a lot of that is, am I ready to read it? Because I have found myself in a situation where I'm buying like sequels in a series, or the next in a series, but I haven't even started that series yet. And I'm really trying this year to get myself to not buy extra books in a series if I have not started that series and I don't know that I love it and I want to read the entire thing yet. And that is the case with the DC Icon series. I have Wonder Woman, which is the first one, and I pre-ordered that, but I haven't read it yet. So therefore I am not allowing myself to buy the next book, which is Batman, which came out earlier this month. I'm not allowing myself to buy that book until I read Wonder Woman and know whether or not it's something I want to get into. So it's just kind of those types of things. I need to make sure that I know it's something I'm going to want to own and put on my shelf, and I am just trying to make sure that that's going to be the case. And for other new releases that I am finding myself not buying, I need to be able to, utilize my library and get it there instead. Number 11 is after you've bought the brand new book that you were so excited to read, how long does it sit on your shelf? I don't want to answer this question. Basically, the answer is way too long. I do not read the books that I buy right away. I don't do that. And that's very evident in my book haul revisit videos because I show you what I hauled last year, and most of them I have not read yet. And I need to get much, much better about that. I really do. This year, I do have a couple of pre-orders coming, and I want to actually put them on my nightstand when I get them and not just put them on my shelves. I want to put them on my nightstand so that I can read them as soon as possible, so that I can talk about them when everyone else is talking about them as well. That would make sense, right? Okay, guys, that is it for the Reader Problems book tag. I'm going to tag a couple people. I don't know if they've done this yet or not, since it's been going around for so long, but I'm going to tag Julie from Pages and Pens. I'm going to tag Natasha from My Reading is Odd, and I'm going to tag Lindsay from Lindsay's Little Library. So if you guys have not done this tag, I would love to see you guys do it as well. And again, I will have all of those links down below that I talked about, like all of the links. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.